everyone, so I did tell you in my last video that I would look exactly the same in my next few, so sorry about that, but what can you do? So today it is Friday and that means a book video, and I love my book videos, and this is my first like proper booktube style video because it is a June wrap up and July TBR. So basically, for those of you who do not watch booktube videos, a wrap up is what people do at the end of the month to show the books that they have read in that month, and TBR stands for to be read. So this video is the books that I have read in June and the books that I want to read in July. I was quite impressed with how many books I managed to get through this month because all of these books were actually only read in the last 10 days. I did not read anything for the first like nearly 3 weeks of June. I just didn't have time. I was so busy, I was so stressed, and for some reason I just really neglected reading and I didn't read anything. And then about between 10 and 12 days ago, I guess, I all of a sudden just had an urge to pick up a book, and I started reading, and I was inspired by people on BookTube, and I was reading like a book every day pretty much, so I thought I would share them with you. Now the first two that I read were actually on my Kindle. This is my little Kindle case, and I just have the old one without the keyboard. I absolutely love it. It's a lifesaver when you're on holiday. The first book that I read was Lolita by Vladimir Nabokov something. Basically, I can't remember the author's name, but I read Lolita, and this one I sort of forced myself to read because everyone said that it was amazing. For those of you who don't know, it is written by a man who is essentially a paedophile, but it basically details his relationship with girls that he calls why can I never remember anything? Nymph somethings. I don't know. You can tell I didn't really enjoy this book, can't you? I gave this book 3 out of 5 stars because I do think that it's well written, but in a way that's why I didn't enjoy it, because I felt like it was almost rationalising the thought processes of a paedophile, and for me that's just not that's not what I like to read. And I don't mean they were saying that being a paedophile is fine, but because it was written from the perspective of a paedophile, and he rationalised his own thoughts, even though you could see that he was a bit mad, it didn't sit right with me. I didn't enjoy reading about the details of their relationship. I felt very uncomfortable throughout the entire book, and it's one that I will not be reading it again. Completely flipping it on itself, the next book that I read on my Kindle was The Great Gatsby. I can't believe it took me so long to read this book properly again. I read it a long time ago when I was young, didn't understand it at all, and so obviously it's now free on Kindle, so I thought, gotta have it, and I read it in about 2 hours. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and now that I have read the book again, I can appreciate that the film is actually a pretty good adaptation as well. I felt like I was watching the film whilst reading the book. I thought, I don't know, I thought it was great. I think the book is really well written. I just thoroughly enjoyed it. I believe I gave that 5 stars, The Great Gatsby, because I absolutely loved it. The first actual hard copy of a book that I read in June was called Witch and Wizard, and it is a middle grade sort of like fantasy alternative world sort of novel. I believe it's by James Patterson. It is about 2 siblings who discover that they are actually a witch and wizard, and they have to fight against being persecuted by the new government that has been put in place. I really did not enjoy this book. I gave it 3 stars because I feel like if I read it as somebody who it's sort of geared towards, so if I read it as a 13-year-old or something, I probably would have enjoyed it, and that's the reason I read it in the first place, because my brother, who is 13, said that I would enjoy it and he told me to read it. it was very, very childish for me. They didn't portray the teenage characters very well. I felt like they were a bit ridiculous. So yeah, for that reason I gave it 3 stars, because I could appreciate that children would enjoy it, but I thought it was pretty pants. Oh, I get so nervous whenever I talk about the Mortal Instruments series because everyone's just gonna hate me, but also in June I read book 4 and book 5 of the Mortal Instruments series, and that is City of Fallen Angels and City of Lost Souls. I gave these 3 stars each again because whilst I can appreciate that the plot and the alternative world and the storyline is reasonably good, I don't like the way that Cassandra Clare writes, and I don't like the love story. I don't like it. I don't think it's written very well. I think it's too over the top and too in your face. If you are wondering what I mean by that, then go and watch my love in young adult novels video, because you'll understand a little bit more why I dislike the Mortal Instruments series so much. But yeah, I really did not enjoy those books, and I will not be reading the 6th one. Yeah, I gave them 3 stars each. Next, I read The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, and again, this is another book that I feel like I read when I was young but didn't appreciate it fully, and I found it in a charity shop for 90 pence. It's very beaten up already, but I don't mind that. I absolutely adored this book. I read it in the space of one afternoon whilst I was watching my brother play cricket. I thought this was absolutely incredible, and I gave it 4 stars, I think. The only reason I didn't give it 5 was because I wish it was a little bit longer in places. But yeah, I thought this was amazing. Again, for those of you who don't know, it is about a boy with Asperger's who discovers his neighbour's dog has been killed in the night, and he sets out to discover who killed the dog. And it is a very sad but like bittersweet story. I absolutely loved it. I really would recommend you guys reading it. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Then I read Ketchup Clouds by Annabelle Pitcher, and this is the edition that I have. Oh, it's got a little bit bent. I picked this up on Amazon because I heard quite a lot of good things about it. Again, I read this in the space of a day. I couldn't put it down, despite the fact that it's written in a style that I don't usually enjoy. I absolutely loved this book, and I will read the back to you because I don't want to give anything away, so I'll just read you the blurb. It says, Zoe Collins has a dark and terrible secret that she dares confess to no one, but one day she hears of a criminal on death row who knows all about secrets and lies and betrayal. Desperate to confide in someone, Zoe picks up a pen. These are the letters that she wrote. So it is just a book of letters from Zoe to the death row inmate, and she confesses her story and her secret, and I could not put this book down. I absolutely loved it. I think I gave it 5 stars purely because it really moved me. I'm not sure why. Young adult novels do not normally affect me in that way, but it really did move me because it really portrays the vulnerability and the emotion that being a teenage girl can have, and sometimes you think you've done something absolutely terrible when actually it's not as bad as you think, although, you know, depending on how you look at it with this particular scenario. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Very sad, very sad, but a great read. And yeah, I gave this one 5 stars because I enjoyed it so much. So those were the books that I read in June. I'm not sure how many there were in total. 7. So I read 7 books in about 10 to 12 days, which is not that bad. I am a very fast reader, especially if I enjoy the book. So I'm hoping that I will get through a lot of books in July, but I have set myself a very small target. The first book is The Virgin Suicides by Jeffrey Eugenides. Again, this is a book that I feel like everyone has read except me. I picked it up on Amazon because it was going quite cheap. I'm already halfway through it, and so far I'm not particularly taken with it. I'm hoping that as the story unfolds more, I will enjoy it more. But it is good. I will definitely finish it. I'm probably going to finish it in the next day or so. yeah, that's the first one that I want to read in July. Then I have 3 classics, one of which I have already read but want to read again, and 2 of them I have never read before. So the first one is the book that I have already read, and that is Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird. I got the 50th anniversary edition on Amazon. It's like a mass market paperback, so it's teeny tiny, but it's really, really pretty. I love the cover. And it's obviously in mint condition, and my old paperback copy of this was absolutely destroyed. So yeah, I'm hoping to read this again in July. I have an old Penguin copy of The Catcher in the Rye. Everyone told me I need to read this book. If I'm honest with you, I know nothing about it. I'm absolutely going into this with my eyes closed. I don't know anything about this book, which probably makes me highly uncultured, but I promise I've read a lot of other classics. Yeah, so that is the 3rd book that I want to do in July. And another one that will probably get me very told off, I have The Kite Runner, and I found this in a charity shop again for 50p. I've heard that it's heartbreaking but brilliant, and those are some of my favourite books. I'm about 10 pages in, and I'm feeling a little bit intimidated already. I am sure I will enjoy it, and I will probably get around to reading this in July. So as you can see, I've set myself a teeny tiny reading target for July, but they are all classics and they might take a little bit of sort of thorough reading to get through. The Catcher in the Rye is tiny, so it shouldn't take me too long, and I have read To Kill a Mockingbird before, but I don't like to set my targets too high because then when I fail to attain them, it annoys me. There are a few more books that I would like to read this month if I get round to it, but those 4 are the main ones that I want to read. So thank you so much for watching, guys. If you have any books that you really enjoyed in June or any books that you are hoping to read in July, please do let me know in the comments. I would love to hear about them. Yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye!